Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here, and of course, I'm joined as always with my co-host Darian Smith. And Darian, we've got a couple big announcements to kind of break on the podcast tonight for the
Oh,
listeners.
oh yeah, what we got? Because everybody know me as a co-host. I've been here for a little while. But what else you got?
Breaking
What else you got for us, man?
breaking news: the Blazer Victory Podcast is announcing, drum roll, Jimmy Marion will be a new co-host, a permanent co-host on the Blazer Victory Podcast. Jimmy, officially welcome aboard, my friend.
Thank you. It feels good. I've officially signed my national letter of intent with the Blazer Victory podcast.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
so y'all know Jimmy is like the recruiting expert. Jimmy, what are you 5-star? What we looking at?
I wouldn't say 5-star, 4.5 is probably fair. I had some Power
Go.
5 opportunities. I had some. I won't call it preferred walk-on, but yeah. So, but I feel blessed to put the Blazer cap on here at signing day.
Oh, the
Uh,
crowd is going wow. Well, wow. So John, you gotta kind of redo the intro then. Like you're here with your. Let's
I
do this
know,
again.
man.
Yeah, let's do this again. Let's just. That's me rewinding.
Run it back, Turbo. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody, to the Blazer Victory Podcast, where I am joined with my fellow co-host Darian Smith and Jimmy Marion. How you guys doing this
Hey,
evening? Yeah,
I like
Hello.
that. I like that.
it's gonna take some practice. Well, Jimmy, hey, officially welcome aboard. I'm so glad you accepted your sign your letter of intent. You've been great these last few episodes. Darian and I proud to have you on and know that you're going to continue to contribute to the show in areas that honestly Darian and I couldn't. I've always said, and I'll continue to say, you're the recruiting guru of UAB football and basketball, and you brought so much on the show these 3 episodes that you've been on, and I cannot wait to see years going forward what you continue to bring to Blazer Victory. So again, welcome aboard.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm excited. It's definitely stepping outside of my comfort zone a little bit, but the 3 episodes I've been on, I've thoroughly enjoyed, and it's just good just to sit back and talk Blazer sports. And I look forward to many podcasts, many game recaps, and all that good stuff here going forward.
And Jimmy, I like rewinding the tape and watching the tape, right? So let me tell you what really was like. We was already having our conversations, but I was like, me and John was actually one coming to me, but when we did that basketball episode, it was mostly outside of recruiting. But I was like, oh, like, if you most of the time if you see a player, you're like, they used to think Jalen Hurts can only like run or mostly run, but now he has an arm, he can throw. Man, you showed your versatility on that basketball episode, and the stuff that you were saying was so substantive
Hmm.
and insightful. I'm like, oh, he knows the game. No, he didn't play it in high school or whatever, but as a guy that I played sports on, every level. I love seeing a mind for the game, and you definitely have it, not just in recruiting, but you had some very good points to make all throughout. So
Some insightful thoughts. Yes, I
yes, I
agree.
love it, man. I'm excited. I think that we're blessed to have you, and we're just very much so honored to have this 3-man weave going right now.
It all started with a DM from Darian, so kudos for you, to you for having the courage to send a DM to UAB athletics fan.
Darren got in
Yeah,
them DMs, man. He got
yeah, I
in
had to get them DMs, man.
Oh man, well yeah, definitely excited to see what happens. And also, hey, just for everybody listening, we are not accepting any more applications. There will not be. We are sticking at 3 for a long time. But yeah, thanks again, Jimmy. And again, if you guys aren't following, Jimmy on Twitter, his Twitter account is at UAB Athletics Fan. So give him a follow and give Blazer Victory a follow at Blazer Pod. But guys, in my tweet this morning, I said announcements, plural. So we got the big one out of the way, announcing Jimmy as a co-host. But Darian, can I get another drum roll, please? So after months of extensive work on this thing, the Blazer Victory finally has a website. It is www.blazervictory.com. So not only will this be a podcast going forward, we are going to post articles on that website, maybe even some videos in the future. We've got a lot of good things planned, a lot of good content planned on www.blazervictory.com. So click the link in your podcast description, check it out. It's ready. I think it looks clean. I might be a little biased because I was the one that worked on it for these last few months, but I do think it looks clean. It looks good. It looks exactly what we were going for. And of course, Darian and Jimmy are always welcome to contribute and will contribute, on the website at some point. I've already, by the time this podcast is posted, you will see my first article on there, kind of previewing the North Texas basketball game, the 3 keys to a Blazer victory, North Texas. So definitely click that, see what you like it. If it sucks, come back. Maybe the next article will be better. But I'm excited, hey, guys. And this has been a long time coming. I graduated a history major in college, so I loved writing in college, and I've always had the itch to write some more, and Brad kind of gave me that with the Southside Dragon Report. But now Blazer Victory is going to be more than just the Blazer Victory podcast. Now, I do want to, because I put this in our show notes. I want to emphasize to our listeners that Blazer Victory will always focus on primarily putting the podcast first. But with that being said, we're going to have articles, and we're going to basically kind of be like a all-in-one shop for UAB content. So you click on it, you'll see an articles tab, you'll see an about me tab, you'll see a podcast tab, you'll see merch tab. We've got it all. And like I mentioned earlier, we've got more big things coming on the horizon. So definitely go to www.blazervictory.com and check it out. Make it your homepage if you like. And guys, I'm just excited. When I started this thing with Steve, 3-4 years ago, like, I'm just excited to see what, we've grown so much over these past few years. Like, if we can get people to read, articles and videos and look at other content and reel them in to listen to the podcast, because a lot of people still don't know what the hell a podcast is. And that bugs me for some reason. But if we can reel them in, like, this is going to be a great place for UAB fans, hopefully for years to come, to get great coverage of UAB athletics.
So, and I think you've done a great job, John, of just opening up the gateways for UAB. I think it's some of the best and most creative ways, because I feel like sometimes you just can't depend on somebody else to do it for you.
Right.
And I feel like you were more than capable. You started the podcast platform, and now here we are going deeper. And it's kind of, I like the semblance of it, like with UAB going on to the AAC, with UAB hiring Trent Dilfer, and just aiming higher. The way he was talking was like, playoffs, college playoffs. And I've always been of that mindset. You got some people that feel like it's a that ceiling, it's a hard ceiling on it. Like we can't reach the sky, like we can't shoot for the stars.
Right.
And I feel like this is kind of going, hand in hand with his idea. Like you opening it up, like, man, not only just the podcast, but just us with bringing Jimmy on, and now we got us three and this thing, and just adding this other element to it. And then, now we can write articles, and we all have different strengths, right? Like, I'm a film junkie. We can break down some film. We can look at some things. Maybe we gonna look into it. I mean, Jimmy is so great at recruiting, and that's his strength. We all can do all type of things, but we can play to our strengths. And I just think it's a semblance for UAB athletics in a whole. And we all owe our thanks to you, John. Good job.
Oh, well, you don't have to thank me, but that speech did get me excited because, we've all, Steve Irvine does a great job, 1819 News. Evan Daly does a good job with AL.com. Like, but outside of that, I mean, where's the coverage? Yeah, and I'm not trying to bash any TVs or radio, but they might give UAB 30 seconds or so. But This is going to be the website where Blazer fans can rely on good coverage of UAB athletics, independent coverage. We don't have to answer to anybody. And hey, I do want to say this up front. We are not affiliated with UAB. This is not a UAB site. This is not a UAB podcast. Most of you know that. I just feel like legally I have to say that we're not affiliated with UAB. But this is going to be, if you're a UAB fan, this is going to be everything on this site is going to be nothing about UAB, or it's going to be everything about UAB, nothing else. We are going to have authentic coverage, just like we've been doing with the podcast. And I'm just excited. And I know.
You know what, John?
What's that?
I look forward to continued earning the respect of the people connected with the athletic department, the coaches, the players. I want to earn respect from other fellow journalists, not just, sometimes, let's be real here. I know both of you guys can probably attest to it. Sometimes they look at it and say, oh, that's just some fan guys, right?
Oh, that's just a podcast. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've heard it.
It's just, nah, but that's okay because, again, that's kind of with that UAB mindset. It's kind of like we're kind of looked at as, oh, it's just UAB, little brother of Bama and Auburn, just UAB. But we have to earn from when I've been here. It's like earning respect. I love to earn respect. Don't when it come to like competition and stuff like that. So it's like that's okay. I think all three of us are willing to put in the work to earn the respect to show that we're gonna put out quality content. We're not putting out BS just for y'all to make ourselves feel good. Well, no, we're gonna really put some work in, really create relationships, really connect. We're gonna really look in the mirror and work on ourselves and give real quality. And so no telling what doors that are open, but we really do this because we just love UAB athletics.
And that's exactly where I was going to go, Darren, because we don't get paid for this at all. This is coming out of pocket. I had to pay for the website for we pay for the hot podcast hosting platform every year. We sell a few T-shirts and a couple hoodies, but that's still not making. It means we do this because we love UAB athletics. And we want to provide more, coverage for UAB. So that is exactly why. Yeah.
And shout out to all of our wives for basically.
Oh yeah.
They are allowing us to get on because this is really fun for us. And
yes,
we miss out on time. We all are married. We all have a young one or two or three or four in my case. So like there's a lot of things going on. I know for me personally, I work a lot, and just shout out to my wife and shout out to you guys wives for just giving us this time so we can really provide good quality content for UAB fans.
Yeah, no doubt.
I had to do it. I had to do it because the wives listen to the podcast. So shout out to y'all. Y'all the best.
Oh yes, for sure. Well, guys, we'll go ahead. Huge announcements again. Jimmy, welcome as a co-host, and www.blazervictory.com. Check it out. Save it as your favorites on your tab if you get on a computer, or save it on your Safari or on your phone. Because get ready. Originally I was going to wait until spring football practice to roll this out, but when you get that itch and you just know the time is right, especially getting Jimmy on board with us, Darren, we just had to roll it out and get it cranking.
Yes, sir. We had to. It's the time is now. So
yes,
I'm excited, man.
Yes, sir. Well, all right. Well, let's get into some basketball talk. So, if you guys missed our last episode, we had an instant reaction episode to the big win UAB had over FAU, 86-77. Again, first ranked win in Bartow in nearly 10 years for UAB over a ranked opponent. I mean, I feel like we hit most of the things on the instant reaction, but I just want to give you guys a chance. Was there anything that we missed, Jimmy, on our recap, or Darian, that we need to bring up before we move on to FIU?
Jimmy?
Nothing that really stands out. I know we were talking a little bit before the pod. It feels like the FAU game was like 2 weeks ago. It's just,
yes.
The FAU game in particular is one of those that I was happy that was on the television, that we had the ability to record and kind of, just cherish, because it was a special moment. We had, a few weeks there where the team was, struggling to get victories. And so now that we're back on the winning streak, which I know we'll talk about just as basketball as a whole, it's just a nice game to crank it out, go to the recordings and rewatch. But nothing in particular that I think's worth bringing up right now.
I do like how we won that game in dominant fashion against a pretty dominant team.
Yep.
I think that's one thing we kind of glossed over. But we kind of put our foot on their necks and we never really eased up. I mean, they kind of got within arm's reach, but we always kept them at bay. And to me, that is a sign of a great team. Good teams can win games. Great teams will extend the lead and keep it. And I think we showed that, Mark. We showed that we can be locked in for 4 quarters, the whole game, and that's something that we struggle with, and we're gonna go with there. But we sometimes we can allow runs, and we'll go on dry spells, or we just start playing like we lost our head sometimes, and then we'll kind of get it back together, and we kind of operate in runs like that. But a great team is gonna give you consistent play all 4 quarters, all the way to the end, and that's still something that I feel like we're developing. But to show that against FAU, who has been by far clearly the best team in our conference, I think that was pretty major for us.
Yeah, and I know you guys gave a lot of praise to Eric Gaines in the recap pod, but I just wanted to reiterate, man, Eric Gaines, 21 points, 10 of 11 from the free throw line, shot 50% from the field, just a baller. Really one of his best games at UAB. I mean, he did a great job, but I guess now it's time to turn the page and talk about that FIU game that happened on Saturday. So UAB gets the dub, wins its 4th straight game in a row, 76-72 over FIU. Whew. That game was, that was the game. See, this is what I was, on the last pod, I was worried about, because we're coming off of that emotional high off of beating a ranked FAU team. And I was just sensing, not a letdown, but like, I don't know, I guess kind of like a letdown. And when you see 22 turnovers, oh, golly. I mean, you don't deserve to win many games at all turning the ball over 22 times. So
No.
it wasn't pretty. But I do want to give the guys credit. They found a way to win the game and get that streak to 4 in a row.
Yeah, so I watched the full first half, and I was only able to watch bits and pieces of the second half because my daughter Azaria had a game going herself, in which she balled out. But I was still just kind of keeping up with it here and there. So turnovers, man. Do we just jump straight into these turnovers, or should I?
I think we need to. No, I think we need to do the turnovers, but especially with the guards, with Jelly and Gaines. Like, I don't know what was going on Saturday.
I think, Jimmy, you can. Jimmy, were you were able to be attendance at that game?
Oh yeah, I was there.
So, and I want both of y'all to kind of answer this for me. All right, since y'all were there. It kind of get a feeling we need to set the right attitude in the beginning of the game, because if I go back to the FAU game, I feel like we stayed consistent throughout. It was like smart decisions. It was sound basketball. It was like when we got too high, we sped up too fast. You can like visibly see Eric Gaines calming down that game. And I think toward the end of the FAU game, we got to feeling ourselves a little bit, and we thought the game was over with, and they cranked up the pressure, and we started turning the ball over like crazy. All right, so it felt like in this game, we did jump out to a good lead, but we still, the first half, we were turning the ball over, and then we calmed down, and then the second half just seemed like a disaster with turnovers. But we were still turning the ball over, and to me, it feels like, especially with Jelly was pressing. Like he kind of does this thing when he's looking for his shot. And he just wants to get. Sometimes it feels like he's trying too hard to score,
Hmm.
and he starts pressing, and he's trying to instead of just letting the game come to him. And then I feel like Eric, it kind of that feeling kind of permeates throughout the team. And then it's like guys, especially our guards, are trying to do
Hmm.
too much. And it's like, it becomes this sloppy style of what are we doing?
Yep.
Basketball. So, like Jimmy, and then we go to John. Like, is that kind of how it felt?
Yeah, I mean, watching our guards play, obviously, Gaines and Jelly combining for 15 of the 22 total turnovers. And if you look at the box score, we did not have another player turn the ball over more than once. So again, we had Jelly with 8, we had Eric with 7. Now, some of that is obviously going to be part of the fact that those guards are so ball dominant. They're going to have the ball as much as they do. But watching the first half, even from the get-go, it really seemed to me, at least, that a lot of the errors were mental. They were unforced. They were stepping out of bounds or making like a really silly pass in some instances, and that's not to discredit, Eric and Jelly at all. It was just one of those nights where it felt like, I know at the end they cranked up the pressure, and that kind of forced us into a few more turnovers late. But the turnover started early. Press, no press. It just seemed like, mentally, the game was too fast. It didn't even matter the tempo of the game. It mattered the tempo mentally, for our ball handlers. And even there's been a few times here as of late where we talked about Eric Gaines' free throw shooting on. I think it was against FAU, how well he did. And not that I don't feel the same way about Jelly still, but you guys recall, like in the conference tournament last year, I mean, Jelly was just absolutely automatic from the free throw line. And looking here at the box score, Jelly missed 2 free throws. He was 2 of 4.
Hmm.
So when you look at the 8 turnovers, you look at the 2 missed free throws, it was just an off night.
Mm,
And certainly I know that there's going to take some time to get healthy. He didn't play basketball. AK was talking on the coach's show that really he wasn't taking a lot of reps in practice either. So it's going to take some time to get back up to game speed. But the reality is that there must be something about FIU, because before Jelly was hurt, and when we played in Miami the first go, Jelly had 8 turnovers against FIU, and then after the injury coming back, uh, Jelly had 8 turnovers again. So it's just something about this FIU team that I know that some of the Blazer faithful are going to be hoping that we don't see the Panthers in the conference tournament.
mm.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely hope not to see him. And I'm glad you said that, Jimmy, because I think you do have to kind of tip your hat to FIU that they played UAB well 2 games, and beat them in Miami. So you do have to kind of tip your hat. And also though too, like obviously I'm not a coach, and Andy Kennedy is, in my opinion, one of the best college basketball coaches out there. But I don't know, didn't it to you guys? Did it seem kind of risky to start Jelly? Like especially knowing he hasn't practiced a whole lot, and I don't know. He came off of the bench against FAU, so I might would have liked to see him come off of the bench again against FIU. Maybe Andy was just trying to see, hey, can he start? And it's FIU, whatever. See how he does. But you can tell that he was moving too fast. He was getting very frustrated. You could see it visibly, and it just led to him making careless errors. And like Darian said earlier, that fed over to the other guard, to Eric Gaines, and he was making mistakes. And him and Jelly weren't on the same page a lot of times, and that especially a couple turnovers late in the game, like you're wondering like what is going on? Like, are these guys even talking to each other and planning things out? So it's very frustrating, but let's hope that we never have another game with 22 turnovers, especially at Bartow Arena, because like that's just inexcusable. And that's Andy said it in his post game presser after the game. Like it's just you could tell in his face, like he knew it was terrible, and he went back and rewatched the film. It's a little less terrible now that he he knows the result, but it's still not good, and it's not good basketball. But I want to give UAB credit; they still found a way to get a win. And
Right. A
so, I mean,
win,
it's all
a
about
win is a
wins. Yeah,
win.
exactly.
A win is a win is a win. We hear it all the time. It's just that, before Jelly went down, it was kind of showing signs of this. We was kind of showing signs of this already. So the thing that I feel like that it kind of scares me, not because it was FIU, it's just that because when FAU did turn up their pressure, we went in a drought at the end of that game, and we let them back in it. We gave them some kind of chance at the end because we just turned the ball over like crazy after having almost as perfect as a game as you can have from a turnover perspective. And so when they applied pressure, it really kind of just forced our guards to make decisions. Just be physical, just trap on when they go pick and rolls instead of doing like a simple switch, or instead of just like hedging and going back into your man, they like really trapped and really just play physical with our guards and say, hey, you're gonna make a pinpoint pass and to the right person. And I think our guards have been failing that test. So if I'm North Texas, who happens to be the best defensive team in our league, in our conference, I would pressure us all game. Show me that you can win the turnover battle. It's what I would do to UAB, because we like to deploy that 1-3-1, and that 1-3-1 has been a lot better. In the past, I have not been a proponent of it at all, but I've really warmed up to it because I think we've gotten better at executing it. But we are used to putting pressure on other teams. I never thought. I just thought it was automatic because I'm like, man, we got Jelly, we got Eric. Like, why even press us? That's a death wish. But honestly, it's wrong. I would like press us the whole game because I feel like that's our weakness is decision making. Like, if you could speed us up, our team, oh my God, I hold my breath. This is the first team I hold my breath on like 2-on-1 fast breaks. Like when we have the advantage, because I'm like, are we gonna make the right pass? Or are we gonna like kind of casually pass it? Or are we gonna really focus on the pass? You know, if our team can clean that up, we eliminate so much of a weakness from this team, because a lot of times other teams turn defense into offense on us. And that's how they get easy scores, and that's how they get those corner threes. That's how they claw back in the game against us, just our decision making. And I would say that it's us, but the other team has something, like the coaching staff has to scout that weakness, and your players have to execute in order to like kind of force. That's what it is. They kind of force us to beat us. So I'm pretty sure every other team is seeing that on film. I would like for us to be challenged with it again, because that's the only way you're going to get better. So we squeaked out a win, against FIU. We let them back in the game, or props to them and correct credit for them for fighting their way back into the game.
Yeah,
But
and
I
there's
don't.
the
I just.
but.
But like I said, I'm always a process of a results guy. Always. We got the win. At the end of the day, you want to get the win. I am not happy with the process with this one. It's kind of weird. Like I would be like one of those coaches where the film session and the practice session would have probably been like, you would have felt like we would have lost by 20, because we're so much better than that, as a team. So while I'm relieved that we got the dub, I am upset at how we played, because that should have been a double-digit game
Yeah.
had we made better decisions, and had we learned how to deal with the press and deal with physicality from our guards. I don't like when we get into that mindset, and we have to. This upcoming game, if you don't think they're gonna press us, you are a fool. Or if you don't think they're gonna get up and play physical with us and force us to make decisions, force us to make passes, good passes, you are a fool. So, but I am confident that we looked at film and that we are working to correct those issues.
Yeah, and Andy's working on that in practice this week to get ready for North Texas, because North Texas is definitely going to do everything that you just said with Grant McCaslin. But that's a very stout observation, Darian. I wanted to kind of go back to, like, with UAB, like, obviously you can force them to make bad decisions, which they proved Saturday. They made 22 bad decisions, but not only that, but let's face it, UAB is not a great shooting team as of late, even with Jellyback. Um, so if you can full court press UAB and force them to make quick decisions and maybe force up a quick shot, more than more than likely that shot's not going to go in. So the scouting is out. The scouting report is out on UAB and how to stop UAB. So it is essential that, and I agree with Darian. I trust Andy Kennedy that he is going to work on that this week and get ready for North Texas, because I guarantee you we are going to see 90% of the game time is going to be North Texas full court pressing UAB and just being physical. And let's face it too, we saw it a couple weeks ago in Bartow. North Texas out physicaled UAB. Now, granted, UAB was without Jelly Walker, but still, UAB is going to have to learn from this, and let's hope they do. But again, we kind of reiterate this every basketball episode that we do, but it's all about getting better for March in that Conference USA tournament in Frisco, Texas. Like Darian said, let's prove we can beat a full court press consistently. Because in Frisco, that's when it's going to matter. If you can't do it in Frisco, your season's over with. Unless you want to play in the, what do they call it? Not the NIT, but whatever. The other conferences.
CBI or
Yeah,
CIT.
whether ABC 1, 2, 3, whatever they want to call it. But yes, let's get better, improve. Let's bounce back Thursday and show that this was just this was a emotional letdown, and that's okay to say. UAB found a way to win thanks to a late Trey Jemison tip in and a couple clutch free throws at the end. Found a way to win. That's something that they didn't do in Miami earlier against this same FIU team. But Jimmy, do you have any more thoughts on FIU before we wrap this up?
No, you touched on the shooting woes a little bit, and looking at Jelly since he's been back from injury, I think he's 4 of 19. That's roughly 20% from three. That ain't going to continue.
No.
Some of these turnovers are, and we talk about some of the, mental aspect of it. A lot of that changes when those shots start to fall. I'm waiting for, the numbers to balance out. And, I'm super optimistic that, and super hopeful, I should say, that as we approach a really big stretch in our season that we'll talk about for this week, that Jelly's able to get out of that rut. I've seen some, posts from Jelly. He hears the doubters. He knows there are doubters out there. And, he had a rough game. I mean, there's no getting around that, but I'm super excited to see him bounce back, shooting the ball from three, and that's going to be critical for us as we close out the rest of the conference season. And we know what he can do in Frisco, right? We saw it firsthand last year, and I'm just really happy to think and really hopeful to think those shooting woes are going to be hopefully turning themselves around here soon.
Yeah, and I think the way that he goes about that, though, you can tell he wants to shoot his way out of it. And that's what shooters do. Shooters shoot. But I feel like the way he needs to go about it is what I would recommend is like get in the flow of the game. Don't try to like heat check it in. Like, I saw that in one place he got a good look in the corner, good pass, and he was able to drill it. Just kind of let it come to you. Don't press for it. You can visibly tell. A lot of times I'm sitting here, from my armchair couch position, and I'm just like, no, Jelly, no. I think sometimes what happens is we get a little fool's gold because he can make those shots. Well, what's the point of celebrating one of those shots when you took 8 of them? Because you're pressing. Took 8 of those shots, you made one. And you turned the ball over twice, trying to get to that spot just to shoot a shot, just because you're Jelly. No, like, you're a good player. You can conduct the offense. You know what? We do a good job when we get the ball to Xavier Davis on the block. Let him go to work, and then okay, we can work through him. You know what? KJ Buffin he's good on the corner right here. He has short area quickness. He's physical. He can get up. Just get him in against some mismatches easy. Oh, Ladarius Brewer right there. He's good coming off a motion shooter. He can come off a screen. He can knock down his open shots. Like Eric Gaines, when he gets it, when he comes down, he's good going downhill. Like we have a lot of options, is what I'm saying. And we can just run plays and you can get your offense in rhythm. Like don't press just if you have 9 points and it's 10 minutes left in the second half, you're a Jelly Walker. If you're in rhythm, you can score 20 points in 7 minutes. And you can end up with 29 points at the end of the game just like it's nothing. But I think there's a way you have to go about it because I think it's a mental thing with him. And he'll start pressing, and next thing you know, it's like this wild step back, just crazy 3-pointer, and it's off. And now you done took like 4 or 5 of them. Now you're frustrated, right? And now you're kind of throwing the ball away. You know, your body language, he doesn't have that traditional smile on his face, just smiling up and down the court, and you're out of rhythm. So now when you do get an open shot, we did that against Rice. When Rice had those open shots, they was clanking them because we put that pressure on them all game. They couldn't do nothing about it. Like they was so out of rhythm, and Jelly is kind of doing it to himself. So what I would like Jelly to do is just like, just like you conduct the offense, run plays. Don't just do a pick and roll, step back 3-pointer. Run plays. Like intend to get the ball to Ladarius Brewer or something like that. Just get your shot within the offense. Let the offense dictate. Then once you get your rhythm, once you get a couple open ones, now go into your Steph Curry bag. But just wait on it. Don't press for it.
100% agree. Well, again, UAB gets the dub 76-72 and improves to 17-7 overall, but more importantly, 8-5 in Conference USA play. So they are just 4 games back from FAU and just 2 games back from North Texas, which, as we mentioned earlier, they'll play in just on Thursday night, and we'll get into that in a minute. But before we move on, we did want to take a break because Sunday was 205 day for UAB football. And our co-host, Jimmy Marion, was able to make the trip out to Iron City to witness 205 Day. So, Jimmy, can you tell us a little bit about what happened at 205 Day with Trent Dilfer and the coaching staff?
Yeah, so I think that was my third similar event to go to. The first thing I noticed was, first and foremost, it's just cool. It's like a celebration of looking at all the talent that we were able to bring in. And, this year's extra special because you've got, the whole new staff that's on board. But what I really enjoyed about this year was it was more of an abbreviated event. So it can be lengthy when you think about signing as many players that we did, upwards of 35 players. It could have been easy to go through every single one and spend a lot of time on it. You could have easily spent an hour and a half, and heck, some junkies like me would have loved it, right? But for the most part, they were able to get through it in about 45 minutes. So what they did, just to kind of paint a picture for those of you who weren't there, they had some food in the cash bar and just the ability to kind of mingle with some of the staff and fans. And what they did was Trent came up and talked kind of big picture about the class. And, they started going down the list and they went through position to position group. One thing I was going to mention was instead of bringing every staff member up to the stage and introducing them individually, they did like a cool little edit video where it's kind of like when you're watching an NFL game and they're announcing like Jimmy Marion, running back, Birmingham, Alabama. Like they went through all the coaching staff, all 40 plus of them, and went through their names, their position, on the staff and what college they graduated from. But then from the player standpoint, they went position groups. They started with the defensive line. They brought the DC and the defensive line coach up. And they just kind of went through real quick, like maybe 15 seconds of highlights on every single player, and talked just a little bit about the signees. So obviously we're not going to go through and talk signee to signee, but there was a couple cool things. If you've been to one of those events before, one of my favorite parts is hearing some of the just stories, that you might not be privy to. And So you learn small things like Gerlings Milford is originally from Haiti. I think that Trent said that he moved to the United States when he was 7 years old. You hear small little tidbits like that. They talked about one of the staff members, Ben Willoughby. Shout out to him. Trent had challenged some of the staff members when they were looking to find some offensive linemen. Admittedly, they were, losing out some offensive linemen to some bigger schools, and they're looking at certain measurables like, who's out there that's 6'5", at least that's a dual sport athlete in high school that's 250 plus. Who are these guys that we can bring in and really get in the weight room and be potentially that NFL level talent. And they had talked about how Ben Willoughby went back. I think they had a break for like 3 days over Christmas, and that's when he ran across Mason Trorock's film. So you hear like little tidbits. Another one was about Daniel Harris, who was our late signee in the early signing day, 6'6", outside linebacker. They talked about Daniel Harris in his high school career. So many of you know that he did suffer a pretty big injury. And they were talking about how they were playing 7-on-7, which I presume would have been during the summer, and that he, obviously had got hurt but wasn't diagnosed, with a torn ACL. And I think he had kept playing, and he had clocked a 4.41, 40-yard dash. And they found out shortly thereafter that he did so on a torn ACL. So again, 6'6" outside linebacker, just speaking about his athleticism. Excited to bring him. There was another little tidbit, inside linebacker. I might butcher the pronunciation here, but Everett Rousseau. They had made a comment that we stole him from Arkansas, so he must have been a silent commit to Arkansas, which is really cool that we were able to get him. And the last thing is we talked about Corey Milliner over in our last podcast. And Corey Milliner is a guy that, we had said, hey, he released his top 6 before we offered him. And Jack State might have been, his highest rated offer. But they seem to be very high on him. So they told a story that they had a prospect on campus. And, they had asked the prospect, who's the best receiver that you went against this year? And they didn't name who that prospect was, but that prospect had said Corey Milliner. And that's how they started watching the film. And, Mortensen had said he drew the comp of Devonta Smith, obviously the highly talented, receiver from University of Alabama, now with the Eagles. So it's just you get those little tidbits that you can kind of just, stash away, for when Corey Milliner's catching his first big pass, and you can say, hey, that's pretty unique how they ran across his name. Or you think about the inside linebacker Rousseau, and you think about how talented he is and who he truly beat out to get him. So all in all, it was a super cool event, and hopefully it's something that they'll continue to do in years to come.
See, John, you see why we stopped dating, Jimmy.
Hey, we had to commit. Hey, we had to put the ring on, didn't it?
Yeah, we were ready for something more because look, yeah, I just don't feel like you'll find that insightful coverage like that, and to be able
nowhere.
to communicate it so effectively as he did. Like I'm sitting here listening, like, oh damn, for real, like I just feel like the only other coverage you get like that about UAB sports is like a Steve Irvine article. Other than that, you gotta look,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had to throw that in. That was really cool. Quick, thorough breakdown.
Oh yeah, I love it. Appreciate Jimmy for going to that event. Darian and I were not able to go. We had some things going on, but sounded like a good time there at Iron City. And Jimmy, from what I heard from others too, like it seemed like it was a really big crowd there of UAB faithful. Was that would that be accurate to say?
Yes, it was a very nice crowd. It was packed. In previous years, there was a lot of chatter like kind of going on in the background because it's an event center, right? So you've got the
Right.
whole cash bar like going on, but I think Trent definitely had people's attention for the evening. But yeah, it's a really cool time.
And that has me excited, to get in protective, and hopefully that energy transfers over, and hopefully one that it transfers to the field, and we see some good football, but B hopefully it transferred to the fans. and that we can see Protective not only packed out but loud. Man, I've been dreaming of that day. What I've been dreaming of is like us, going into the college playoffs, or maybe in a good bowl. Nah, well, just hosting the championship or something. It's just like packed, and we got the whole city kind of buzzing, and everybody's going want to go to a UAB game, and that's where this is, to me, this is where the energy starts. Like, you focus on what's right ahead of you, and they did it, and they focused in recruiting, and they got the guys, and now this 205 day seems like it's a big thing. Like, it seemed like they put it there. I was looking at the pictures like, damn, that's a good crowd. I didn't know it was going to be like that, and just to hear how attentive the crowd was, it's very impressive. So that's 2 for 2. I can't wait to hear about how spring is going and how the competition is going. I think we have the requisite talent. Hopefully, those guys will stay healthy, and I feel the energy is just, John, I feel it like bubbling. Like we on a little crock pot, and it's starting to stir up now.
Oh yeah, I feel it too. Just taking those baby steps, man. Like we'll get to that point of that dream, of having a packed out Protective, hosting championships at Protective Stadium. We'll get there. It's just a matter of when. And hey, I'm right there with you. I hope that Trent and the staff and team can get there very soon. And hey, spring ball is just a few weeks away. And I mean, I feel like I say this a lot, but hopefully we'll have a football schedule released in the next week or so. I hope so. I mean, I feel like the AAC and the Sun Belt and the MAC are the only conferences that haven't released their schedules, but we'll be back, for some more football coverage too. When that, I mean, it could be dropped tomorrow for all I know, but I just hope within the next week or so that the AAC officially releases that schedule, because I am getting, I'm getting excited. It's a new day for UAB football. A lot of momentum started already with the coaching staff, like Darian just mentioned, with the recruiting. That Jimmy and we've talked about for a couple episodes now. The foundation is being laid again. So definitely excited about UAB football on the South Side again. But switching back over to basketball, huge opportunity for UAB going into the Super Pit this Thursday night, traveling to Denton to take on the North Texas Mean Green, and hopefully UAB will be ready, because the last time these two teams played, North Texas kind of took it to them. And like I mentioned earlier, UAB was without Jordan Jelly Walker. This time they'll have him, but I'm excited, man. Like UAB tends to do well in the Super Pit, and I put this in my article, but in fact, UAB's won the last 5 times that they played North Texas and Denton. So that's a good stat if you're a UAB fan listening. That gives you a little hope too. But these two teams do tip off Thursday night at 7 p.m. Unfortunately, it will be on ESPN Plus, so we won't get that CBS Sports Network telecast. But it should be a good one in the Super Pit this Thursday night, and I'm looking forward to see if UAB can kind of put those turnover woes to bed and continue this win streak. Jamie, what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, just like you said, John, it's obviously huge. It technically is a quad one opportunity, and I know right now that our focus, as it should be, is being the best team that we can be in March for that tournament. That way, we have an opportunity to reach our ultimate goals. But it's just a huge game. I mean, even if we weren't able to, win the conference tournament, and make it to the NCAA tournament, there still is some respect. I'm going to say this real quick about just our resume. I mean, we were kind of joking around about the CIT and the CBI earlier, but the NIT is an opportunity. So obviously, I know we want to win the conference tournament, but these are the type of resume boosting wins that, if unfortunately we weren't able to win that conference tournament, like, we might have the opportunity to play in another tournament like the NIT, and these are things that help with seeding and whatnot like that. But just kind of sticking to the current picture right now, we've won 4 in a row. This is a chance to get to 5 in a row. This is a chance to keep the momentum going for UAB to set up a really nice matchup on Saturday against Middle Tennessee. Another chance hopefully good weather, a good crowd to get that exciting energy. We still have a lot to play for to get up to that, at least that third or hopefully that second seed here in the regular season to position ourselves well in the conference tournament. You spoke about how it's UAB's won 5 straight at the Super Pit. So I think I don't know if it's 8 games or if it's 9 games that the road team has won in a row, but I do know that the last time that a home team won in this series was all the way back in January of 2016. UAB had won at Bartow Arena that day. And do either of y'all care to guess who was in the starting five for UAB? How long ago that was?
You said 2016.
Yeah, 2016, January 23rd, 2016.
Hold on. What's the is that too? What's the lefty shooter that we had? Tall.
Guard?
He was like a forward. White
I was
guy.
gonna say Robert. Oh, you talking about Norton? Or
Norton was one of them, and you said Robert too. Robert Brown was on that team.
Robert Brown, Ha Ha Lee.
Haha was coming off the bench that game. He didn't start.
Lewis Sullivan, was he starting?
I think Lewis Sullivan had left the year before. The starting
Oh,
five was Nick Norton, Hakeem Baxter, Robert Brown, Chris Coakley, and Tosin Mahinti was the last time that a team, a home team, won a game in this series. Think about that.
well, let's hope that trend continues.
That's right.
You know, I was thinking about was it Swington?
Oh, Jordan Swing.
George
Swing.
Swing. That's what I was thinking about. I went back a little too far.
Yep, not that far, but it just speaks to, how crazy this series has been. So, I'm looking for a clash of styles. So we talked about the tempo. North Texas is bottom 2 or 3 in the country in terms of tempo, and I think we're somewhere on the outskirts of the top 25. And so, they're going to do everything they can to limit our possessions and, just kind of diving into some trends. So I looked at, North Texas right now has played 13 conference games. They're 10-3 in conference. And when you look at their 3 losses, I'm not going to, give some magical formula here, but some things that I found interesting is in the 3 games that they lost in conference, 2 to FAU, 1 to Rice, they were out rebounded in every contest. They were also the opponent nearly doubled their free throw attempts. So I believe it was their first matchup against FAU. North Texas had 9 free throw attempts first compared to 20. Then they had 8 compared to 19, and then 13 compared to 21. So not quite doubled, but still it speaks to the importance of UAB to get to the free throw line. You got to get there first, right? So our attempts have to be high, and then obviously we have to convert. And then if you look at the 3 losses they had, again, the FAU twice and the Rice, in those games, the opponent did not turn the ball over any more than 11 times. So we're coming off a matchup in which we turned it over 22 times in a much more high tempo game. But, when I look at potentially the keys, things that we should be looking at and hoping for is to out rebound UNT, to certainly get to the free throw line as much as possible, and of course convert. And then we've got to keep those turnovers down. The magic number, if we're getting above 10 or 11 turnovers to go on the road to beat UNT, is going to be extremely difficult.
And you know what, John, those numbers tell me what you said earlier on when you said when North Texas came to Bartow, they out physicaled us.
Yep.
So that's exactly to me it speaks to 2 things. But first things first is those guys like to get physical. They like to get to the free throw line. They're gonna put a body on you. They're gonna box out. They're long. They athletic. They're very athletic, and they like to play they like to slow it down and grind it down. So the second thing is tempo. we need to play. We need to play at a good tempo. Like I don't feel like we need to take our chances in transition when we can. I think people know how I feel about us as a transition team, and it's our decision making. But this is a stout team defensively. Like they're physical, they're connected, and if you ever seen like LeBron in the finals, LeBron used to exert so much energy, he would like slow the game down. So he controlled the whole pace, right? So he would like slow the game down to a snail's pace. He would walk the ball up. Any hoop head knows like that's how North Texas like to play. Like they're not a running gun team. They're gonna walk that ball up the court. They're gonna run their offense. They're gonna take a lot of time with positions. They're positioning like a football team with like how Rice was when they play. You know how frustrating that was. Like you always get the ball in 3rd and 2, and they run for 3 yards. It's another first down. That's kind of how North Texas is in basketball. Like they're not gonna run a gun, and they're not gonna give many opportunities for them to turn it over. They're gonna slow it down and play at their pace. And if they make the shot, cool. They're gonna try to take good quality shots so they can get back and have a set defense. And guess what? In that set defense, their best offense is to be physical and to turn you over. And then they get out there and then they get an easy bucket and they tell you score on us. So if we let them be physical, if our guards don't get in and help with rebounding and box out, we're going to be in trouble. If we make those unforced turnovers, those pick sixes, those just casual passes. Sometimes we throw those casual cross court passes. I'm like, what are you doing? Like it's an easy interception, dunk. If we do that and we don't bring the required energy, but most importantly, the required mental focus, fortitude, we're gonna get beat. But I feel like if we come out like we did against FAU, so we prove to ourselves that we can be that team that can think. We can think. We can make good, crisp, fundamental passes. We can focus on catching the ball and then driving. We can take good quality shots. Forget if they go in or not. Let's just take good quality shots, not a force. I'm going to force it and throw something up, stupid stuff, and that's how we get unforced turnovers. Because those shots are like unforced turnovers too. It's a bad shot, a guy gets on a run out, and nobody's in position to get back because it was a stupid shot. Well, let's not do that. Once we think our way, if we can calm down, I want to see Eric take that breath. Like, I know when he's in control, he'll kind of like take his breath and he'll get the conduct. And I'm like, that's the Eric I like to see. And, and I want to see Jelly make good, quick decisions. And I want to see this team perform like we're capable of, but don't let North Texas get in our head by being more physical. I don't want to see the attitudes. I don't want to see KJ Buffer, kind of dusting it up. Nah, I want to see us locked in and just making good plays and forcing them to kind of play catch up against us, not us trying to score against them.
Yeah, well said. And, again, UAB travels to North Texas Thursday night at 7 p.m. It'll be televised on ESPN Plus. But don't forget to go to www.blazervictory.com and check out the article, 3 Keys to a Blazer Victory. So make sure you read that before Thursday night. And guys, if UAB can somehow get it done Thursday night in the Super Pit, they've got another huge game this Saturday in Bartow Arena, the Bartow Classic, as Middle Tennessee comes to town to take on UAB at 3 p.m. That game is going to be televised on Stadium, but we certainly hope that you can all make it down to Bartow. This is the next to the last home game. So after this home game, there will be one more. So hopefully everybody can make it down to Bartow Arena to cheer on the Blazers. But, this is another game. Like, UAB fell on the road at Middle a few weeks ago. Just a split second from a Ty Brewer game-winning shot in overtime from getting the dub. But unfortunately, it did not go that way. Middle, we know they they love to play good defense. Who is that shot blocker that kept blocking all those shots?
That whole team was really but they had one impressive forward. I don't know if I can't remember if he was number 12. I can't remember the name,
They also had and they also had a player that was in black and white stripes that was doing pretty good too, right? I'm just kidding. Hey, we're never gonna blame officials, but hey, some of those calls were, or no calls at least, like,
Yeah, those no calls. They kind of swallowed them whistles. But all in all, Middle Tennessee was a good. They were an athletic team. I give them that.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, UAB's got two good games, two good tests coming up this week, and
you know what? It's important for the seeding. For the conference tournament, we kind of didn't touch on that, but I think right now, I think we're kind of like in a third, fourth spot.
Yeah, so right now we're in a tie for third with I believe it's with Middle Tennessee. Yeah, with Middle. Yeah, so we're 2 games. So FAU's ahead in first place. North Texas is 2 games behind FAU, and then UAB and Middle are both tied at 4 games back. So if UAB can win both of these games, I mean, you're getting close to getting that top 2 seed. But you know what Jimmy was referring to earlier, and this is something too I mentioned in the article. But the top 5 seeds in Conference USA get a first round bye in the Conference USA tournament this year because of the uneven teams this year due to the Sun Belt teams leaving. But it's even more important to try to get the top 3 because 4 and 5 actually play each other in the first round. So, I mean, both teams get a bye, but you have to play that team. So it would be better to get a 1 through 3, a 1, 2, or 3 seed. That way you get to play a team that just had to play the night before. So it is, these last few weeks are going to be crucial. And UAB's got a huge opportunity with these 2 games to gain some traction in getting a top 2 seed.
Oh, good points. I didn't know that about 4 and 5, and the importance of the top 3.
Yeah, it's crucial. Jimmy, you got any thoughts on Middle before we wrap it up?
I haven't even started looking at Middle yet. Just too stoked for North Texas. It'd be a quick turnaround, but hopefully we're celebrating on Thursday night. Can turn on the film and look at Middle Tennessee on Friday.
Definitely, yes. Well, guys, like I just said, 2 big opportunities for UAB. Hopefully they can get it done. But before we wrap up, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to our Blazer Victory podcast listeners for the baby race that Noah participated in Saturday at FIU. We got a bunch of Noah as we were heading down to the floor, so that was huge. Noah appreciated it, even though the spotlight was a little bit too big for him. He kind of stood there for a minute, but hey, he finished the race, and that's all that matters.
Let's go, Noah.
Yes. So
and
that
you
was
made an appearance on TV, John. Didn't somebody take a screen cap of you, like on ESPN Plus or something?
Yeah, shout out to Welcome to UAB. My boy took a screenshot of me on ESPN Plus. So it wasn't TV, but hey, I'll take it.
In the hoodie, in the Blazer Pod hoodie.
Hey, and go to blazervictory.com if you want to get a cool hoodie like I had on ESPN Plus. So come on now.
I'm glad you were able to show him on prime time. You had all the big lights on you, and John, you were able to show the cool apparel we've been trying to tell him about now for a couple months, and hopefully that was able to open some eyes right there. You took advantage of your time on the big screen, man.
I'm telling you, and it's even easier now. All you got to go is to our website, blazervictory.com, and there's a tab that says Blazer Victory Merch. You click that, and that'll take you right to the website where you can purchase. So if you guys haven't already, definitely get you a T-shirt or a hoodie of Blazer Victory merchandise.
Man, look how set up. I see the vision, man. Look how set up you got that thing. We got some articles. We're going to have a couple film breakdowns. We got the podcast on there. We got the merch on there. What more do they want from you, man? What more can you offer? I don't know, man.
Either.
I don't think it's nothing more you can.
Hey, me either. BlazerVictory.com. Check it out now. And also, it was cool. Also, on Saturday, I got to meet a couple of listeners, Richard, Chris, Emmanuel Waller. I mean, he football signee. Like, hey, got to chat it up with those 3 guys. It's always awesome meeting some of you guys in person, even if it's just a, hey John, what's up? I love just talking with you guys, and Darian does too. And Jimmy, now you got to deal with that too. You got to start saying hey to people. They come and say, hey, you Jimmy from the podcast? Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, so it's always awesome. Hey, we're just normal guys like y'all are. We love talking UAB athletics. So if you see us at a game, hopefully in Blazer Victory podcast merch, definitely say hey.
Yeah,
And also,
that's
go
the
ahead.
best part of it. That's the best part of it. I mean, because what is this podcast, or what we're doing this podcast or the website for if it wasn't for them?
Exactly.
And it's us. I feel like we're all family here, So thank you guys. We really feed off y'all energy, to be honest. All y'all the feedback and the things that y'all tell us, we live for that. I mean, me and John, we send screen caps to each other. Jimmy's gonna be in on it. We got our little group chat now, so we send whatever a lot of y'all feedback. We screenshot it and we send it to each other, and we feed off the energy that y'all give us. So really, really, thank you guys.
100% agree. And also, I I took about 150 Blazer Victory podcast stickers to the game this past Saturday, and you guys took almost all of them, but just like 4 or 5 of them. So thank you guys. I hope, hey, if you grabbed a sticker and you are just now checking out the Blazer Victory podcast, thank you. This Saturday, I've already, talked it over. I'm going to bring more stickers and put it at the marketing table, which is the main entrance of a Bartow when you go in right by the Gene Bartow statue, the gold wall honor wall. Yeah. It'll be at that table. So if you guys do not have any Blazer Victory stickers, please get one. Grab a couple. I want them all gone. Like, and stick them on your car, stick them on your Yeti, wherever you put your stickers. These are really good quality stickers, and they are a free. It just helps spread the word about Blazer Victory for us, and hopefully, gain some more listeners, and now gain some more readers for the website. But definitely, I hope to be there at least 30 minutes before tip off, so around 2:30. So definitely go by the Gene Bartow statue and pick you up a couple free Blazer Victory podcast stickers.
Sir.
Well, what are we at? About an hour now?
We
we're over. 1 hour, 1 hour 8 minutes. Okay, all right. Well, Darian, you want to go wrap us up?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's Jimmy, you wrap us up.
Oh, there you go, Jimmy.
There you go. Blazer Nation, let's ride.
Let's ride. Let's go.
Let's ride. Let's go. Oh, I said I wasn't gonna say let's go this episode.